the discussion that we're going to go today is, first of all, I'll try to start differently by saying something other than the pandemic. I understand that every presentation these days starts with the pandemic and all of the challenges that we're facing around. However, I'll try to stay away from that and focus on the future. One of the things that we really consider and take very serious is cloud technology and cloud solutions. And one of the reasons we do that is that even way before the pandemic, and I've said the pandemic again, so anyway, even way before the pandemic, we started moving to the cloud as Collins Aerospace using our new solution, which is called CMUs, which is the check-in cloud solution. Just because we felt that this is the future and this is the right way forward. And by doing that, we can say that, yes, we've started a long time ago, but we have to admit that the pandemic did accelerate the adoption of these cloud solutions even further. So why cloud, and why did the pandemic help accelerate that? So the first and most important thing that we really need to consider is scalability and cost efficiency. So in the airports, and when we discuss Africa or any of the other airports that are really, and the airlines as well, that are really looking for growth and expansions in other areas, the most important thing is scalability. You do not just look at, prior to the pandemic, we used to look at scalability in terms of growing and maybe building a new terminal and building and adding more workstations to the check-in systems. But with the challenges that we're facing today, airports are looking into going scalable up and also down. So I can look at my airport and say, can I really have a scalable solution that can work from one workstation up to 1,000 workstations without adding core room and data centers and these things? And when I look at this, as Collins Aerospace, cloud is the solution for that. So the technology enables airlines and airports to deploy the systems far more rapidly than ever before. So previously, you need to purchase servers. Sometimes there's lots of custom clearance and shipping from other countries if the country that you're deploying this core room doesn't have the required servers. So all of this, you don't need to care about when you go to the cloud. So we as Collins Aerospace would work with the airport and the airline to implement this fully scalable solution that fits the IT infrastructure and meet the operational demand, not just for today, but for the future. So it's very scalable, as I said, from a single workstation to 1,000 workstation. However, it does ensure that the functionality across the operation is synergized and that you do not need to invest a lot in adding or removing or performing some of the updates or any changes that you require. So with the same support for any size, it does support any size of the airport, and you can expand the capacity. I know in Africa and in some of the countries, we have lots of seasonal requirements where there are seasons where you really need much higher passenger throughput within maybe 2 or 3 months of the year, and then you scale down. All of this is really achievable when you go to the cloud. While it's still achievable with the on-prem, but there's no cost saving or there's no efficiencies when you do that with an on-prem solution. There's also the fact of all the automated updates that you get, and also that you don't really need to replace all the hardware that you have today. So when we look at the majority of the upgrades that some of the airports go through, the first thing is I need to build a new core room. I need to invest in a massive infrastructure. With cloud, you don't really need to care about that because you can just use the existing hardware with the workstation printers and deploy your solution on top of that and keep maintaining it as much as you can. And so we look at this from not just a futuristic approach, but from something that would address today's challenges and yet keep us all into the situation of we're ready for the future without worrying about what do we need to invest for moving further. And I would say we always hear the concerns, but is there lots of connectivity issues? But we go back and have to understand that the majority of the check-in system, regardless whether we like it or not, needs a connection to the host system because the airline's host is not on the airport. It's not inside the airport, but it's on hosted solutions all around the world, depending on which airline and what system they use. So you are really dependable on the connectivity. However, we've seen impressive improvement in all the connectivity within the African airports and all the majority of the airports that we deal with, that really takes away this concern. And we have sites that are running with the same use perfectly with no issues at all in terms of connectivity. And we're proud to be there and proud to help our customers and our partners to be set for the future and enjoy the future while they are here today. One of the other, and I would say very important point that yet sometimes we don't see it very like requested a lot is the sustainability. In Collins Aerospace, having this broad footprint in the aviation, we really take this very seriously, and we are in a unique position to make positive impact to the future. So John was just, the video we saw, we had this very unfortunate topic on world trafficking, but the sustainability and making sure that we are that we are taking care and putting measures in to protect the environment, to protect the planet future as well, is something that we take very seriously. And going back to the cloud discussion, and I'm not that biased, however, with moving to the cloud, you're really helping with the sustainability of, really helping with the sustainability aspect of the business, because the less devices you have inside, the less footprint you have on servers and power and HVAC stuff, air conditioning, electricity, power, the less of that, the more you are contributing in saving the environment. And we're working diligently to improve our operations in a way that reduces energy uses, emissions, and preserve the natural resources. So it's not just the aircraft that sustainability or the flying thing that the sustainability is focused on, but it's also what we do on the ground that's really going to make a very big difference if we all work together and look at the solution, not just from a technological perspective, but also from taking care of our planet and where we live. And I would say all of this, going back to the discussion around the pandemic and the pool that John just launched, there's a big aspect of how do we get the passengers back to the airports and remove the anxiety around the travel. And if I look back even before the pandemic and before everything, the travel, and I really travel a lot, and yet there is always this level of anxiety when you travel. Do I have my passport? Do I have my visas? Is every document I have is appropriate? And now we've added another level of, I would say, way more than before, and which is the PCR testing and all of the requirement with having, is it 96 hours? Is it 48 hours before travel? So the contactless and the biometric solution jumps into this and try to integrate with solutions like the IATA Travel Pass to make sure that this process is automated and that we're taking away this anxiety from the passengers and making sure that their process within the airport is contactless, so we avoid as much as possible from touching lots of points around the airport, and also making sure that their documentation and the process that would allow them to fly safely is all automated and do not need to worry about things of that sort. So we're working closely with IATA on the travel pass. We're also looking at every touch point, and I say touch point while we actually want to make it touchless point or contactless point. And to us, that's going to remove all the bottlenecks from the airport, and it's going to make the passenger journey more seamless and definitely efficient. And John, I think I'm done here. I'll pass back to you. I'll try to stick to my 10 minutes.